Hi there.
Hi, welcome to Year 6 Online Meet the Teacher. I'm Miss Broadhurst and I look after Lime class.
And I'm Miss Ackroyd and I teach rowing class. So we've just thought we'd have a little chat about how the children are doing since they've come back to school. We've been really impressed with their attitude to Year 6. They've come back, hitting the ground running, and we're feeling very proud of them. Would you agree?
Very enthusiastic for learning, so good news so far.
Absolutely. Okay, so here are some of the things that we've got planned coming up in the autumn term. Obviously, all of these things are COVID dependent, so fingers crossed they can go ahead as planned. But as you can see, we have a bikeability week that is in the week exactly after half term. So we are hoping that will go ahead as usual. We've also got a rail safety workshop planned, which will take place with a visitor from school. It will either be virtual or in the classrooms, and we hope to do an evacuation day with a trip to Billingshurst train station. If we can't do the bit in Billingshurst train station, then we will host our evacuation day within school.
So get your costumes ready.
Make sure that you keep up to date with any further announcements and stuff on the school gateway, and we'll also put any key information up on the Year 6 page on the Arunside website.
So we want to tell you some information about how we're going to get your child's progress reported to you, as normally, obviously, we would be able to come in school and we have much more face-to-face meetings. So we've got today's Meet the Teacher video where we're going to run through all the expectations of Year 6 and where we are so far. We've got, hopefully, coming up a parents' evening in some format, whether we're going to do it online or whether we're going to do it, manage to do it face-to-face or through email. We have got to just wait for the government guidance on that, but you will be updated on your child's progress after half term, the autumn term, and again in the spring term. The summer term is, as always, through the annual report, and for Year 6 you will also be given the SATs scores if they sit the SATs tests.
Okay, so near the beginning of term, you would have been sent a Year 6 newsletter. This newsletter has some key information in regards to Year 6 in terms of what we cover in our curriculum during autumn term. It's also got some info on homework expectations, PE and PE kits, and some of the key dates coming up. So make sure you have a look at that if you're unsure on any of those things.
Here we've got the non-negotiable objectives, and we do normally hand these out at parents' evening. So just to quickly go through what this is with you, it's the document which helps us to assess whether your child is working at nationally age-related standard or above that standard or even below. We've got it for maths, reading and writing, and it is one step higher than the Year 5 objectives that you would have received last year. So I've just had a quick look through it, and this is what we are teaching throughout the year, and we then assess your child on these objectives.
Okay, so we're just going to go through some of the weekly expectations for a child in Year 6. So all homework is set on a Wednesday and it is due in the following Tuesday. A general homework week would look like this, so that you'd have a reading task on Purple Mash and then perhaps a follow-up English task as well. The children will be set a task on My Maths in relation to what we've been covering in school that week. Children are expected to learn their times tables for a test on Thursday, as well as their spellings for a test on Thursday. We do ask the children to read at least 3 times a week when they're at home, and try to do so at least once aloud with an adult. And you can record this in the children's reading books, which are sent home every Monday and expected in on to school on Friday, so that we can acknowledge the reading that they have done.
Here we've got a copy of the spellings that have been sent home in your child's homework book. These are from weeks 1 to 6, which take us up to half term. And these are the spellings that the children will be tested on Thursdays. They'll be tested on 10 of these spellings and also 10 from their read-write ink book, which they are doing in school. The children are encouraged to practice both sets during daytime when they have a bit of free time, and also the expectation is that during the test they do score quite highly, as every child needs to make sure that they are improving on their spellings week after week.
Okay, so just draw your attention to some other resources that we have available for the children. So one of which is Discovery Espresso, and this has a universal login for every child at Arunside. And there's just some nice videos on there. There are some activities that children can complete as well, which relate to all areas of the curriculum. It's particularly handy if, for example, your child's been set a maths homework, they didn't quite understand the My Maths side of it, they didn't quite understand the My Maths lesson, they could head over to Espresso and that could further explain it for them. It's a nice one to check out if you so wish.
We've also got the Bug Club, which has been with Arunside have had quite a few years now. Your child should be okay with how to log on with this. It is an individual login of the child's first 4 letters of their first name and surname. Gives an example here on this PowerPoint. The password is the class name, so it would be Lime or Rowan, and the school code is R9TT. So they should be able to log on to that easily, and they should have some experience with that. So the Bug Club does give them books to read that is at an appropriate level. We have matched them to your child's level, so fingers crossed that they're finding something they can read on there, and they get comprehension questions as they go around where they can earn rewards and stickers to have a bit of fun with something later on. We at school can track their progress and monitor the activity that they are on there. It's not massively popular in Year 6, but we are pushing reading, and if you could get them to read online, then that's just great. Thank you.
Okay, and as mentioned earlier, we also have My Maths. Now, the first login is one that every child in the school has, and then your child will have their own individual login as well. This is where maths homework will be set, and we might also set certain activities. If, for example, the children were less confident with division, we might think, right, we can do this as an addition to homework just to ensure that they've got that support at home should they so wish to. Every child would have had their login sent home with them in one of the first few weeks of school, but please do let us know if they lose it.
Which they do. We've also got TT Rockstars, which we got last year. This has been a massive hit. The children really thoroughly enjoyed the practice with this. We are hoping to get some battles going between the two classes so that Lime can thrash Rowan really simply within seconds of each other. But yeah, please encourage your child to go on this. You know, if they've got a spare 5-10 minutes before dinner or whatever, go practice your times tables, Rockstars. It's really, really important they get fluent times tables by the end of Year 6.
Okay, and each child is given some time every day to read in school. So once they've finished a book, we ask them to do a short book review, which allows their peers and their classmates to see if it's something that they would fancy, where they just do a short review and a grade for their book. You might have received an email earlier in the week about any old books that you might want to donate to Arunside. So please do so if you've got any that are appropriate for Year 6. I'm sure the children will get through them in no time and we'd really appreciate it. So if you've got any, please do send them our way. Thank you.
And the final slide is just quickly about the SATs test, in case you've got any questions and you've not got an older sibling that's gone through that. So the government have, as it stands, announced that the national end of Key Stage 2 assessments will be going ahead next year, and the dates that we have been given are the 10th of May and the 13th of May. This, like everything in this current situation, is subject to change, and we are not holding this set in stone. We are expecting that this may go later, or if at all, but fingers crossed, this is what we've been given so far, and this is what, as the team, we are aiming for. Okay, so due to the lockdown, we have more work to do over the next 2 terms than we've ever had before. We are fortunate enough to have Mrs. Murphy, Mrs. West, Mr. Heath and Mrs. Payne to make sure that your children are getting the absolute best education that we can provide here in Year 6. We will be offering, if we are aiming for the May or whatever, we will be offering the children before school groups for reading and maths, and those will be targeted children that we want to give that little bit extra to. We offer an additional homework or revision club at lunchtime, and any child can come to that as a voluntary basis. If they feel that they didn't get the subtraction this morning, they might want to pop in for just a little bit of a catch up, and it's run as a more like a surgery where you can just come and have a bit of a suggestion and then we move on So totally open to every child whenever they want to. We've got revision materials sent home with the homework that we believe is going to help them to revise for a specific area that we might have not covered in class, or might have covered in class but needs a little bit of extra. And we get the revision booklets as well. So we will be inviting all parents to a meeting again, face-to-face or online, to discuss the SATs as we hear about it, when we hear about it, hopefully earlier in the next year.
And so on that note, if you've got any questions for us, we appreciate everything's a bit different at the moment, and there might be things that you're wanting to ask that you've not been able to due to not seeing us as regularly on the playground. Please do send them through to office@arunside.school, and they'll be able to forward them on to us, and we will address any questions that you might have. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.